we are getting another Anime Expo recap and 2 other very special videos. Sorry I'm taking so long on them, I've been procrastinating bad, but hopefully the first one will come out sometime in October.
Honestly, I don't even know what to say, but we're here now, I guess. Evening, everyone. In my last Anime Expo video, I mentioned I hadn't been in touch with the latest anime and was slightly concerned AX wouldn't be very appealing to me. Well, I'm here to inform you within that time, I've actually watched 3 new series. Well, new to me at least. Osomatsu-san, haven't finished. Dr. Stone, why was it strangely addicting to watch? And some of Jujutsu Kaisen, I haven't finished and I probably won't. If you couldn't tell by my Mahito video. Anyways, needless to say, whether or not I watched any new anime series didn't affect my enjoyment of the convention. So with that in mind, I was set for this year. Planning started early on in fall 2023, but by the time New Year's 2024 rolled around, things had obviously changed. Originally, I wanted to go with some new friends I had made in college, I think on the first and third, maybe second days, but well, there were other events they wanted to attend, so unfortunately, it didn't work out. The AX ticket prices were also a contributing factor, with the 4-day pass being $150. Single day passes were $75 for day 1, Thursday, July 4th. Day 2, Friday, July 5th was $80, day 3, $85, and day 4 was $70. Keep in mind, this is how much badges cost at base price. As usual, prices were raised twice by varying amounts as the con drew closer. I myself decided not to buy a 4-day pass for a multitude of reasons, most importantly being 1, I did not want to deal with the day room crowds after what happened at AX23, and 2, I had a plan that involved buying something at the con which is pretty pricey, so getting both this mystery item and the 4-day badge was just not feasible. So in the end, I got a 1-day pass for day 3, which was honestly not that tough of a decision. As I mentioned in my last AX video, an annual doll meet is always held on the 3rd day. I had fun going last year, but I had to leave super early, so I definitely wanted to stick around for longer this time. I think I did briefly, super brief, consider buying another ticket for day 2 because the same doll group was holding their first ever vinyl/anime doll centered panel at 7 p.m. that day. I was told by the meet organizer it was like that first doll centric panel held in over 7 or 8 years. I didn't end up going because with the 2 ticket prices combined, I might as well have paid for the 4-day pass. Anyways, I bought my ticket on April 21st. With the added amount of random fees, taxes, and shipping, the total came out to $104.64. Yikes. I got my shipping notice on the 22nd of May, and she finally arrived. Yeah, about that, I apparently didn't record, anything at all when she came, so it did show up at one point. Since I bought my badge pretty early this year, it gave me more time to specifically plan on what I wanted to do, especially because I was going by myself for only 1 day. It could be a lot more concise. I knew I definitely wanted to go to Artist Alley this time around, carry on the tradition of buying this year's Figma Snow Miku. Me, a certain content creator who I won't mention because, well, let's just say some unfortunate things have transpired. Oh, and of course, get the super expensive item I wanted to buy, and I mean, this thing was about to cost me more than $600. So what's a better way to generate money than get a job? Yes, that's right, about a week before AX, I started my first job. I don't feel comfortable naming exactly where I worked. Yes, past tense, we'll see why in a bit. But I mentioned I was a package handler. It definitely was not the best beginner job, but hey, the pay was pretty good though. I won't lie, the pre-con experience was a lot more eventful than the actual event itself, and I only mentioned the job because it honestly contributed a lot to how Anime Expo played out for me. Unfortunately, basically, I had to work every single day of the week. Yeah, did I forget to mention the job was part-time? Yeah, the hours were also a bit unfavorable, as the first week my shifts would start at 8 p.m. but would only last about 3 hours until 11. However, as I eased into the job a bit more, the shifts started getting a little longer. At first, they'd actually ask, oh, do you think you could do 1 more hour? Which usually meant work would end at 1 a.m. This job was pretty physically demanding and dirty. I wasn't, and I'm still not, that strong, especially at that point, so I declined without any hassle at all. Meaning my workday would end at around 12:30, and with those times in mind, I started to plan how my Anime Expo schedule would look. Day 1 finally rolled around, and I expected to see the usual complaints about overcrowding, how unsafe spaces were, etc., etc. Honestly, I was bracing to see the worst, but surprisingly, there was nothing. I even saw some videos roll in showing that people had got into the convention center with little to no line at 12 p.m. on day 1, no less. Not to mention, it was the 4th of July, so virtually no one, including myself, had work. It was a miracle, all thanks to the convention center opening more entrances. I also saw some people saying that it genuinely wasn't that crowded as in past years. Also, there wasn't any fuss over that certain booth keeping terrible stock, so I was hoping that a certain item I wanted would be available once Saturday rolled around. Oh, and of course Snomiku too. Right. Then it was day 2, Friday, and I was making my last minute preparations before I eventually had to clock in for work. Oh boy, was I not prepared for what this day was about to bring. First and foremost, we were severely understaffed. I mean, that place was almost always super understaffed, but that day especially. One of our new hire trainers was gone, and I believe one of the guys who came in with my group also pieced out. Not to mention, this was a day after a holiday, so a bunch of extra packages were also coming in that were held up from the day before. At first, I had a few people come and help me with stacking boxes. Yeah, sure, I was pretty slow, and the chutes would clog up a bit when I was solo, but I had dealt with stuff like that before. That is, until I noticed the hours slowly pass by. 12, then 12:30, then 1 a.m. Mind you, I had already started to freak out since this was way past my usual clocking out time. To make matters worse, they moved me to a completely empty truck. Now, if you've never worked at one of these package handling jobs, let me give you just a brief description on how some of these trucks work. There are mainly 2 types, singular layer ones and ones with an undercarriage. The ones with an undercarriage, at least where I worked, had a second floor that went on top and thus were closer to the ceiling. However, loading one from the ground up is an extremely tedious task, especially for me who had only been working there for a week and at this point had zero experience doing it by myself. Needless to say, I was exasperated. Time was ticking and I had no idea when I was getting out, nor if I would actually wake up at 6 o'clock the following morning. Luckily, I think my manager spotted my desperation and had someone come over to help. Maybe after 20 minutes or so, she called me over, letting me go for the day. So once everything was said and done, I think I went to bed around 2:40, 2:50. All in all, was that the worst shift they put me through? No, absolutely not. But nonetheless, it was still pretty devastating. Yeah, I didn't wake up at 6. Man, I had a whole vlog portion planned out, but I was just too tired. I only wanted one thing to deal with at a time. And I chose to deal with my cosplay, which I even considered not wearing cause, well, anyways, I don't know what time I actually woke up, but I want to say around 6:30, 7ish, judging from when I took this video of the lovely LA freeway at 7:18. I want to say it was closer to 7 though. From there on, times were also a bit hazy, but the general timeline goes something like 7:30, I get there, 8 o'clock, they start letting the line move into the convention center, and man, let me tell you, people were not lying about how efficient AX was this year. I think it took about 10 minutes to get from the Figueroa Street side of the convention center to the building itself. Once in the convention center, I somehow weaseled my way up to the front once again. And I do want to mention, as people were saying, it did actually feel a lot less crowded. Around 8:30, they started preparing to open the stairway, and they finally let the crowds loose at 8:45, which is pretty early compared to the year before. I was near the middle staircase when, in fact, I probably should have been on the right since it was closer to my goal. Because of my poor planning, I had to speed walk as fast as I could to it was the other side of the exhibition hall to Volk's booth, and there she was, still in stock. Yep, that's right. I finally obtained my grail, Delphi Dream Rin Kagamine. Woo! Hooray! I've been kind of vague up until this point because, you probably guessed, she'll be getting her own video at some point. I'll go more in depth on just how important this doll is to me then. But for now, just know all the tears, sweat, and yeah, even blood, the job, the endless hunts, the gambles that all accumulated up into this one moment were worth it. After I successfully acquired Rinny, I decided to head on over to the Good Smile booth for Miku. However, apparently Good Smile decided to split their products between 2 booths this year, so a majority of Miku stuff was only being sold in the entertainment hall. I think I dodged a bullet though, cause as I correctly predicted, this Miku cost $90 at base price, and along with the lovely LA taxes and stuff, I'm sure the total would have come out to around 100. Also, the adrenaline after the initial rush had started to wear off, and I was getting pretty tired again. So I made my way to Kentia Hall, where the doll meet usually takes place. I shot this video at around 9:18, and that was pretty much it. Yeah, before we move on to the doll meet portion, I just want to say, after I got there, I did not move. No artist alley, no exhibition hall round 2, no food court, nada, nothing, 0. I was just too tired. Even while at the doll meet, I fell asleep while sitting on the floor at one point. Oh, of course, not saying that the doll meet was boring. It was just, I was that exhausted. Speaking of which, I'm really glad I was able to stick around the entire time this year. Everyone was really nice, and I enjoyed seeing all the wonderful dolls. The same can't be said for some of the other non-doll attendees though. Of course, we have people who are genuinely interested in the hobby, and plus that doll panel they held the day before brought in a few extras who came to see even more dolls in person at the meet. But oh boy, were there a handful of weirdos as well. I'm not gonna spend too much time on them, but to name a few of the interesting things I saw, there was one guy who almost touched a doll. I overheard a freak ask, "Is this a feather thing?" 2 incidents that were kind of similar, one being some guy walking up like, "Hey, once you're at this level, you're in too deep." But the girl he was with was low-key enthusiastic about the dolls. The second was a streamer, which I can't believe we got a streamer this year. Like I expect loads of them coming over, cause hashtag freak event. It's a basically free, let's make fun of these guys slop content. Anyways, so the streamer guy walks up, camera out. What do you think he said? Was he genuinely excited to learn about the dolls? Did he think they were like cool big action figures? Perhaps even recognize some of his favorite characters? Nope. Bro did the same old, "Oh geez, so scary, what if it moved? Imagine having one of these in your room at night. Scary." Yes, I can actually. And yes, they do move. Maybe a little too much. I'm running out of money here. But I digress. Not everyone is built for this hashtag lifestyle. Funny enough, the lady he was with wasn't playing along with his whole scary, creepy moving dolls stitch. She was actually kind of admiring them, much like the other 2 I had witnessed earlier that day. Interesting, huh? Although that's pretty much all the time I want to give these types of people. I'm sure there were more saying various things, but honestly, it reflects on who they are rather than the people at the doll meet. I mean, man, I think I also said it last year, but we're kind of at an anime convention with, even though it's getting pretty quote-unquote mainstream these days, still has a bit of a negative connotation. Moving on. Well, I guess there's nothing really else to move on to. I wasn't kidding when I said I literally didn't move from where the doll meet was. Also, I think at around 1:40ish I did get up to get lunch, aka my yearly overpriced drink. This time, however, since I was super tired, I decided to scrap going to the outdoor food court and just order something from one of the indoor kiosks on the 2nd floor. I decided on this $6 lemonade. To be honest, I don't even remember how it tasted. But yeah, after that, I returned to the meet, and by 4, it was time for me to leave. Sorry, no haul this year. So here's some complimentary sneak peek preview footage of the next video to be released. I'm pretty sad most of my AX was cut short by being too tired to walk around. There was even a small thought in the back of my mind to scrap this entire video, cause I mean, it really is a nothing burger. All the action literally happened the day before and I wasn't even at the con yet. Although that being said, this Anime Expo in general wasn't that scandalous as previous years with the crowds and whatnot. Wait, on second thought, I think there were problems going on in Artist Alley, but when is it there? Strictly speaking, as a general attending though, I think this year definitely was a huge improvement. The added entrances and closing off one of the main streets really helped control the amount of traffic inside and outside the building. Although I'm a bit worried since they've already started advertising AX25 as the biggest anime expo ever, and oh god, bigger does not always mean better. In my own personal news, I hope I'll be able to get a 4-day pass this year. It's looking pretty likely at this point, since I don't plan on buying a whole doll. Well, that's all. Tell me if you think this video was lame. I promise this year I'll try to vlog a bit more now that I'm not working crazy hours. And so, Anime Expo 2024 comes to a close. Good night. See you next summer.